Okay.
You know, in my years of teaching, Mr. Bergman, there's one thing that students always consistently make mistakes on.
And that would be
using
their hair color.
Their calculator.
Oh, it's the old
I have
calculator.
students who will set up problems perfectly, and then when they go to punch it in the calculator,
they get the wrong answer.
They get the wrong answer.
You know, I have seen that a
and
lot
you
too.
think the calculator would make it easier, but if you don't know how to use it properly, it's going to leave an error. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to use your calculator properly to do scientific notation. Now, we're going to show you a way. It might be the same that your math teacher and previous science teachers have told you. It might be different, but our way's better. So we want you to use this method.
Have the better method.
We definitely have the better method.
So how to use your calculator. So what I need you all to do is you need to go get your calculator. Get it out of your backpack, pause the video, wherever. Grab your calculator so that you can follow along as we punch the same buttons that you're going to punch. Okay?
Yep.
Everybody push, pause. Get the calculator out.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Sams, tell us about the calculator.
All right, there are a few buttons that you need to use and a few buttons that you need to never ever touch when you're doing scientific notation. All right, the button that is your friend is the EE button. Now, on Texas Instrument calculators, it's an EE. If you have a Casio, it says EXP, and some buttons, or some calculators, I'm sorry, has just a capital E. This is not the E with a little exponent X, okay? It is not the second function of the ln. Do not use that one. That's a little lowercase e. You don't want to use that one. It's the capital EE button. On Texas Instruments, it's right above the 7.
And the most common one I see people make a mistake, they will say the times 10 button.
Right. We don't want the times 10.
No,
so you don't hit second log.
No.
Because that's times 10. You don't do that one. You don't do second ln, and that's the e to the x. The little e to the x. You don't do that one. Okay? You use second and then this little guy right here for the EE. And if you have a Casio, it says EXP, and it's usually in the bottom row.
Another thing to note here, folks, there's a difference between the negative button and the subtract button.
Your negative button, on most calculators, it's in parentheses. It's this guy right here.
Some will actually say positive, negative.
Right.
So we have a TI-84 we're working on right now. I don't know what you've got. And the subtract button means to subtract.
Right. So don't use that for a negative exponent. You use the negative button for a negative exponent, this guy right here. Now, one other thing you don't want to use, stay away from the caret. Okay, the caret will not help you with scientific notation. We're going to show you how to put it in the calculator here in just a minute. So don't use the caret, don't hit times, don't hit 10 to the x, and don't hit e to the x. You are going to use the EE button. EE button only.
Say EE, everyone. EE. Okay, that's what you want to do, the EE button.
Give me an example.
All right, let's say that I have 5.3 times 10 to the 8th meters.
All right, 5.3 times 10 to the 8th meters. Here's how I put that in my calculator.
Everybody follow along.
5.3. Now, times 10 to the. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to go second EE. It means times 10 to the. And then 8. 5.3, second EE, 8. Those are the keystrokes that you put. Let me do that again. 5.3, second EE, 8. That means 5.3 times 10 to the 8th power. Do not do this. Let me show you what not to do. Do not go 5.3 times 10 caret 8. Now, that will work occasionally. That starts to be problematic when you start to multiply and divide and add and subtract numbers. Typically dividing, right. If you're a parentheses guru, that will work. If you do not use them properly, it won't work, so don't do it.
Just
use the EE button. EE button.
Okay. So now,
right,
one thing we should, let's do one
Let's do one with a negative.
Oh, okay. All right.
Give me a negative one.
So let's do a negative one. Let's say that the diameter of a nucleus is 6.23 times 10 to the negative 16th meters.
Okay, 6.23. 6.23 times 10 to the, which is second EE. Okay? Now, when I punch that in my calculator, I always say times 10 to the in my head. When I hit the second EE, I always go times 10 to the, in my head, negative 16.
Got that, guys? Now, let's see what these numbers would look like on your screen.
When they show up on the screen.
When they show up on the screen. All right. Okay, we're back. Now I want to talk about making sure you know what the buttons are, not the buttons, but what it should look like on your calculator, because it's kind of weird, isn't it, Mr. Sams?
Yeah, it is a little one.
So let's say I've got 5.01 times 10 to the minus 13th
Okay.
meters. Or
Let me
something
put that
like
in. So 5.01.
So now what, guys, you see on the side here is you do not see, you just see the screen. So what, yeah.
5.01, then second EE, negative 13. 5.01, and on your screen it has an E.
Yes.
Capital E, negative 13.
Yeah.
That means 5.01 times 10 to the negative 13. Here's what I don't want to see. Do not, under any circumstances, put 5.01 times second EE, negative 13.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because if you do, when you press enter,
it'll be 10 times too big.
you get a wrong number.
Oh, it just screws everything
Right.
up.
So don't do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So watch that. You got to watch that. You need, and then something that's kind of weird, guys, is that you're going to push an EE button, and at least on a TI graphing calculator, it's going to just produce one E there. That's
Yeah.
kind of odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's just it. The E really means,
Times 10 to
means
the-
times 10 to the power of whatever. In our case, negative 13th. That's what it means. Do not do the times 10 thing.
Right.
It
Don't hit
screws you
times.
up.
Don't hit 10.
No.
Yeah.
All right, let's do one more.
Okay,
Make sure
let's
you
do
can
one
see
more, and
this.
I'll show you another
Actually,
comment.
let's do a little calculation. How about
Okay.
that, Mr. Sams? So let's say I've got 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd, and I want to divide that by 8.01 times 10 to the negative 16th. I don't know why I would do that, but
Yeah, I don't know either. All right, so 6.02, second EE, 23. That means times 10 to the 23, okay? Divided by 8.01, second EE, which means times 10 to the negative 16. And I hit enter, and I get some big number, 7.52 times 10 to the 38th power.
so it says 7.52 E38.
E38. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and then E38. Don't forget to look for that E38 again. Now, let me show you something.
So how would I write that, though? I would write that in my paper as
Right.
7.52 times 10 to the 38.
And actually, if you leave the E38, that's perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
So that's fine too. Now, let me show
These
you
are the
something.
same number here.
If
right?
you do not use the E button and you are not good at using parentheses, let me show you what happens on this particular problem.
Mr. Sam's
If
gonna make a
you do it
mistake.
wrongly, 6.02. Now I'm going to hit the times button, and then 10, and then that caret, 23. Okay? That means 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd. It does, but now I hit divided by
Yeah.
8.01 times 10 caret negative 16. That
You're
means
gonna get a
8.01 times 10
totally
to the
jacked
negative
up
16.
number, Mr.
But
Sam.
since I didn't use my parentheses,
You're going to get like,
I got 7515605.
which is not right.
That is not the same thing as 6.52 times 10 to the 38th power.
Yeah.
That's 7.52 times 10 to the 1, 2,
I think the moral of the story,
that's
guys-
the 6th power. Don't use the 10, use the EE.
Use the E
Yes,
button.
Use the E.
Now, in my calculator, the one that we're working with here, the E is a second function. Some
Yes.
calculators, it's the first
Yeah, on the
function.
Casio it just has an EXP and it's in the bottom
Keep,
row.
yeah, you just got to find it.
Yeah, just
on
find
your
it.
calculator.
Ask your teacher. They know where it is. They'll
right.
tell you.
So the key on this, Mr. Sams, would be what?
E.
Got to use the EE button.
E,
If you stop
E.
using the EE button, we will be very mad at you. You get the
You know what's really funny? People will show me, Mr. Sams, I'm not getting the right answer, and I say, okay, punch it in your calculator for me, and they don't use the EE button. You know what I do?
You laugh.
I laugh,
I don't know what else you do.
and I laugh. I usually say, silly child, have I not taught you to use the EE button?
And actually, I usually just impatient and say, why don't we use the EE button? But Mr. Sams is meaner than me.
I'm evil. I will laugh at you and make you feel like a silly person.
No, he won't.
No,
That's
I
not
won't.
true.
But
seriously,
use the EE button.
Use the EE button. All right, nice job.